First story posted by u/docroc64. I had been dating this girl for almost 7 years. We lived together 6 years of that time. My line of work was electronic consulting, setting up systems with tons of sensors. Good money, but a lot of travel hours. Just setting the stage here. Anyhow, at one point got the feeling that something was off. Nothing I could put my finger on, but a gut feeling. I'm pretty good follow my feelings, so I decided to put some proof in the pudding. While she was out, I had placed a sound-activated recorder in each room of the condo. Very small device, as the storage was on my office PC. This was done on a Friday afternoon. Spent the weekend with her and had a good time. Sunday night, before bed, I took my luggage and tools out to my car and also popped a GPS tracker on her car. Left the next morning and headed to my next site. Plan was I was to be away for 2 weeks. I talked with her daily for the first week. The second week was really hit and miss. Times that she was normally home, I would call and it would go to voicemail. I would ask her about it when I spoke to her again, and I got quite a few excuses: work meetings, late dinners, helping her brother, etc. 2 weeks end and I come home, head almost immediately to my office. I see a ton of activity on the recorders during the first week and barely anything the second, save a loud vehicle driving by. So I go back to the first week's recordings and find that she is talking to some guy. To make it even better, she has it on speaker so I get to hear both sides of the call. Turns out she has been cheating from pretty much day one of our relationship. So I decided right then and there revenge was in order. I had to find out who this guy was. Through some sleuthing, I found out she met this guy, his wife and family, at a campground she worked at before I met her. Found out where they lived and then checked phone records. This being a few years back, people still had house phones, so I looked up the number. Great, it's listed. I called the number and a guy answered the phone. I was prepared for this, so in a professional voice asked to speak to Mrs. Smith. He yelled for her and a woman got on the phone. I asked her if she knew my soon-to-be ex-girlfriend. She said yes, that they had invited her to their house a few times after meeting her at the campground. Wow, that was news to me. I told her we couldn't speak in detail right now, but if she would call me back when she was free to talk, I'd explain everything. I gave her my cell number and hoped that she would be curious enough to call. Sure enough, 2 days later she called. I explained everything that I had recorded. At first she was very skeptical. I told her that I would make a copy of the recording and send it to her. She said okay, but still was skeptical. So my work was set in motion. I went to a local recording studio along with the files and explained what I needed. They took all of the separate recordings and put them together so when she wandered through the house it picked up from the different recordings to make the conversation complete. They then burnt these audio recordings to CD. It took 5 cul-de-sac to cover it all. I then mailed the CDs to Mrs. Smith, registered mail. Then I waited. About 10 days go by. She finally calls me. She's very calm. She tells me that the day before she went and filed divorce papers. Her husband works on an oil rig and he's out on the rig for the next 2 weeks. After she listened to the CDs I sent her, she gave them to her lawyer. Mr. XXX made a shit ton of money doing what he does, and so over the years they had bought a lot of toys like campground plots, a boat, RV, etc. She made it clear that she was going for half. I got off the phone laughing to myself. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy after the things I heard on those recordings. During all this time I never said a word to the GF. I acted as normal as possible. In fact, I still left the tracker on her car. I didn't think that would produce anything. Things were quiet for another week. Then came the day when hell was starting to break loose. My GF was wandering around the house like she was lost. I asked her what was wrong and she told me a friend of hers was getting a divorce. I said that's a shame and went about my business. That evening she was out on the deck talking to someone on the phone. I didn't really pay attention except for the fact that every so often she was raising her voice. Phone call ends. She comes back in and goes straight back to the bedroom. I hear a bunch of rustling around, so I walk back to the door and see her packing clothes. I ask her what she's doing and get no reply. She finishes packing and walks out to her car, throws the suitcases in and leaves. 2 weeks go by and not a word from her. I got a call from Mrs. Smith and she updated me on her world. She had her husband served with the papers and infidelity was the reason. He denied, of course, but she was able to throw details that she said stopped him dead in his tracks. She confirmed the phone call that my GF had the night she left was with her. She said she never raised her voice, but my ex-GF tried swearing up and down that nothing ever happened. Mrs. XXX then put out some details to the GF, enough to let her know she was caught. Mrs. XXX implied that she found out on her own and her next step was to tell me. This is why the GF left so quickly, lol. So, this leaves my handling of the GF. Credit card gone. Car I called to have Rep D. Utilities arranged to be shut off. Insurance cancelled, all of her belongings left behind, were sent by movers to her dad's house along with a note for the reason. By the way, he lives 2 states away. We lived in a condo, so I arranged for it to be shown for sublease. I was packed and moved in 4 days. New condo, gated community with guard shack. The car was finally picked up. They got it while she was at work. Dealership worked with me on selling the car and I just paid the difference. Mrs. Smith did win her divorce decree and got her half. Mr. Smith never countered on anything, too worried about his company finding out the dirty secrets. Never heard from the ex ever again. Here are some comments. I love how you didn't let your emotions get the best of you at any point. It was very satisfying to read. This is a pro-revenge material. Glad things worked out for you, all the very best going forward. Sounds like Mrs. XXX had some gut feelings of her own, having filed for divorce so quickly. You saved that woman from her cheating husband. Good work. I thought my husband loved me like he claimed. Since he lost his job, I have taken up the position of the breadwinner, providing for my family any possible way I can, which got me very busy. Each time I got home tired after long day, he would insist on X I give it to him, and sometimes I refuse cause I'm tired, and this has been going on for a while, but he stopped. I thought he understood until I started getting calls from my kid's school that he doesn't show up on time to get the children from school. I got pissed and decided to secretly monitor his movements, but it wasn't possible due to my crazy work schedule then. I saw a lot of review on here, but I contacted Hacker Brian on Gmail, Hackerbrain, or contact him through text on WhatsApp or directly +1, a private investigator and a reliable hacker. They got me complete access to his phone without his knowledge. To my surprise, I saw his messages with his so-called mistress who he chooses over our kids and noticed the affair has been going on a while and under my nose. I was heartbroken and disappointed, but I'm glad I took the step of working with the great hacker who made everything clear to me. Can we talk about he ultimately set up devices and spied on someone? Like, I understand wanting to catch a cheating partner, but this isn't healthy or the correct way to go about it. Edit, how TF was I downvoted for this? This is not anything close to normal behavior. Getting forward to today's second and final story by you/Strawberry Smoker. So my ex, I'll call him Jay, met when I switched schools because I was bullied really bad. He randomly hit me up on Instagram after my second day of school, which seemed kind of weird because nobody there knew my Insta unless you knew me from my previous school, so he went searching for me. He was very flirty even though he had a girlfriend. I didn't know this at the time, otherwise I would have just blocked him. A month or 2 passed and we were very close, so he asked me out. He still has a girlfriend. I said yes. So we started dating a little, and when one of my few friends asked when Jay and I became friends, I told her we were dating, but she said that couldn't be true because they were dating. I was ticked, but they broke up and I don't know why, but I stayed with Jay. He was very charming and persuasive. It was easy to fall for him. Around a month later he became very attached, very clingy, and very sexual when we are alone. Being 14 at the time, anything sexual was just not on my mind. I did not want to do anything with anyone because I am a child, but this dude was persistent. I invited him over because my mom was gone and we could watch movies. Everything was normal, just cuddling on the couch watching movies. Then he shoved his hand up my shirt. I push him away, kind of in a subtle way of, please don't touch me there. Then he does it again. The same thing kind of goes back and forth for 30 minutes maybe, then I just let him. I could have just told him to leave, but it was raining really hard. But not even 10 minutes later he goes for my pants. And oh no, so instead of just gesturing him to not touch me, I slap him and push him away. Now I'm a small girl, 5'0", 100 pounds. If I try to shove you away, you really did something wrong and you need to stop. But I'm still tiny and I can't keep a 150 pounds boy off of me when he really wants something from me. For 3 hours I tried to push him off, keep all my clothes on and hope my mom would come home soon. Eventually I gave up, he got his way whatever and he left. The next day he just randomly shows up at my house. He doesn't say he's coming over or anything, he's just there. Again, my mom is not home, the same thing happens, but I was easier to give up knowing it wouldn't get me anywhere. After it kind of hitting me that he's just going to do this every chance he gets. Instead of breaking up with him like I should have, I just made excuses of I was going to a neighboring town because my mom's boyfriend lives there, or I was going out with my friend from my old school. He never questioned it. I was distant, but I would text him throughout most of the days we didn't go to school. For months later I found out he cheated on me with my best friend from 4th grade, Shelby K. Clearly being really livid about this, I keep in touch with him to make sure I can break up every future relationship, which I so totally do. I broke it up with J and K the last day of school, and I wasn't even there, I was 700 miles away. The new school year starts up, he gets a new girl who is in my PE class, I'll call her C. They last a good month before I send her pictures of me and him together, which were not while we were dating because I dyed my hair 3 days before I took the pictures. I just claimed I didn't know they were dating, and when she found out, she broke up with J. It makes me so uncomfortable to be with him, but I did it to hurt him like he hurt me. It's a year from the abuse incident now, and somebody gave the school an anonymous tip that he abused me and the 2 girls I talked about, C and K. I had no clue he did it to them too. I didn't tell the police sooner because I thought I was the only one, and it didn't matter because he wouldn't do it again, especially because his longest relationship after me was a month. So all 3 of us told the school what he had done, and he got it in deep shit with the law and his parents. The only good thing that came out of this was the 3 of us got our revenge for him doing terrible things to us, and anytime somebody looks up his name, the report the 3 of us filed is the first thing to pop up right above his Twitter page. He got his way with me, I got my way with him. Here are some comments. Wow. That guy ducking deserve it. I hope you are feeling better, seeing that the situation is serious. Wow, this is awful, I am truly sorry this happened to you. I wish you the absolute best going forward. Just keep working on yourself and living your life the best you can. Cherish the fact that you get to live the life you chose for yourself now and can make it as awesome as can be, while this ducking waste of oxygen has to deal with the consequences. His life is ducked up forever now, thank God this sad excuse for a human got caught. Nice revenge, I hope you're okay, but damn, was that hard to read. Dude's an ass. On another note, I'm half happy, half proud you were able to get justice, knowing not enough people are able to have theirs. Don't date a person who has a lover. Are you that thirsty for affection? Geez, respect yourself a little. This is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please don't forget to hit the like button and comment below.